changed, have I anticipated that being 50 pounds fluffier and being about 40 shades of ashen gray, grayer, no one would recognize me. So that's why we're gonna have a little music, because the only thing I did of note was be the co-founder of Michael Mensch's late night HBS 87 band. I've been a few pub nights and a few dances, but everyone was always drunk, so I still don't think they knew who I was. This is the late night theme from David Letterman, for those who don't remember the 80s. Says breathe and pause. Biden, you'll get some of those. I've titled my remarks 50 Shades of Grit, How to Resiliently Bounce Back Better. I believe I was selected to represent Section E. How many are of E here?
Yeah.
So the problem is I only recognize 6 of the so many here, and 3 of them were from the band. And that's what's part of my story. Ultimately, I believe it was because my wife passed away 5 years ago of ovarian cancer at the tender age of 57. And also because I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 disorder, formerly known as manic depression, back in '87, just 3 months after graduating, spending 2 months on the floor and trying to commit suicide. So there's not a person in this room hearing my voice who has not had hard challenges that require grit and resilience to overcome. I'm sure most of you could share and articulate strategies with me which would help me better manage my challenges, or as I like to call them, stretches. Breathe, everyone. Slow down. 10 minutes, it might go okay. Perhaps when I add the recent death of both of my parents, 4 suicide attempts, and several other mental and neurological challenges beyond bipolar, like being born a blue baby with a passed out, unconscious mother, a dozen adrenaline-chasing brain injuries, Mormon, no alcohol, had to find something. ADD, dyslexia, early onset dementia at age 45, and now 2 years of insidious and debilitating long neuro-COVID squared. I might have a unique perspective and coping strategies that could be applied generically. I hope so. I hope you get something from this. I will structure my remarks around what I consider to be my 3 best life lessons, or my sticky pad 3 M's. Mentors, models, mission. Hopefully, what I share may help you become more grateful and resilient in the future. I've spent the past 20 years updating these 3 personal statements: best life lessons, my who am I statement, and the languages or the language of my stories. I repeat them almost daily. my life, vision, my values, my guiding principles, the mission and the strategies of my existence are embedded in these documents. I'm happy to share them with anyone after this presentation. Best life lesson number 1, mentors and mentoring. Seek out mentors, coaches, counselors, and teachers. Ask for help and guidance, and then reciprocate. Mentors are the resilience factor that helped me bounce back better, or as Biden said, build back better. I believe Hillary got it right in the first half of the title of her first book, which reads, "It takes a village to raise a child." Interestingly, we are learning it takes a planet to save a village, but I digress. It has taken an entire psychological, industrial complex to raise Merrill Watts. And I'm not done yet. Just ask my 37-year-old daughter, Chanel, who some of you may remember. This industrial complex has come in the form of clustering 3 separate families. My family by blood, my family by marriage, and my world family by choice. From these families, I have formed and consulted with permanent and ad hoc personal boards of directors. On average, they include 4 or 5 individuals. I have rarely made major decisions without their counsel and without sharing my why. Usually I eat their advice, but often I'm just trying to get acquiescence. In turn, I have played the mentoring role or taught those principles to hundreds of my students as a professor, coworkers, employees, and family members. This model has been an essential life-saving strategy when bipolar mania and its endless possibilities take over, or when depression obscures even a single possibility for moving forward. No hope, only apathy and languishing. For example, I've never not taken my doctor-prescribed pharmaceutical medications, even when the side effects say, "Don't take me," or even when I'm manic and it says, "This is bringing you down, this is the wrong thing." I only remember one time when I made a major financial investment without a 24-hour pause and consult. Thank you, Shauna. Otherwise, wouldn't be here. Best life lesson number 2. Speaking of models, I often track around 50 personal models. They morph, but they reflect my core values, they increase my effectiveness, and they reduce exposure. They are now embedded in my DNA. They are the fodder of my frequent CEO days, where I work just on me. I try to revisit them when I make decisions, both grand and trivial. These are the 50 shades of grit I refer to in the title. I'd like to share 2 relevant examples of the Harvard Business School experience that are beyond some of the more obvious lessons of time value of money, exit strategies, action planning, etc. The first is a gem from entrepreneurial management professor Howard Stevenson. If you have a risky financial strategy, you must have a conservative operating strategy. If you have a risky operating strategy, you must have a conservative financial strategy. The second comes from my control professor, Ken Merchant, who said, "The goal of control is to have no unpleasant surprises." The goal of control is to have no unpleasant surprises. I just love both these quotes. Everybody who knows me knows them. Finally, lesson number 3, mission. Inform, define, and live your mission by regularly creating CEO days. How many of you on a monthly basis don't work in your business, just on yourself? Anyone? 1, 2. Practice the 3 R's of renewal. What am I going to release? What am I going to reaffirm? Then, and only then, can I reinvent by making space. And finally, by continuously scrolling through the paper until you get back to where you were.
Modern technology is awesome.
It is. I've continuously examined and tried to re-articulate and apply my best life lessons, which I just shared, my who am I statement, which I'll share now, and the language of my stories. Since my wife died, there was one big question, and that is, who am I now that I am no longer Shauna's husband? She was the alpha male, I was the beta male. I was the alpha female, she was the beta. Ran our company for 20 years. So I want you to ask yourselves, who am I? Clearly, we are not our skill set or our career choices. I have learned I am a deeply spirit-based tantric soul. Passionate, curious and creative, strategic, empathic and intuitive, mercurial, probably the biggest one, authentic and playful, messy, rapscallion-like, and very irreverent. I truly have a wild, untamed heart in a conservative, cloistered Mormon world. Once articulated, once you could say that about who you are, then the obvious question to me becomes, how do I do who I am? And in my case, I'm a storyteller. Actually, I like doing this. I'm a linker, and an artist, and a grandfather of 9. They're all little rugrats, except for the doodle woodle poodle doodle fuck the mucka duck doodle, and he's out of control. Explorer and life coach. Each of these roles, I did it again. I'll just end it with that. Each of those roles really do define me, and that's how I implement my life, and it's made a difference. It's the only reason I'm alive today. So in conclusion, I beg you to pause and to ask yourselves if you really know who you are, and really understand how you do who you are instead of what your life circumstances have put you into. I am grateful every day to be alive. There are 1 million people in this country who are dead with COVID, and I've had it twice, and I've come close. I am grateful more than you can imagine every day when I go out and then come back home, and I can still find my wallet on a chain, when I can still find my keys on a chain, when I can find my Bose headphones on a chain, and when I can actually find my way home in an intact vehicle. This is this talk that I spent $2,500 recording on Saturday and Monday, because I spent 70% of the days this year in bed or watching YouTube shorts. That's how serious it can be. So if you missed anything and want to see that, you're welcome.